This is the promotional poster you may have seen around and may have led you here to Star Racing. Today we have our open class tournament. You can see that our track is going to be Rickard Memorial, and this is the medium length track that we're going to be looking at today. We do have Old Vanderval, which does exist within the Star Citizen Arena Commander set of racing tracks, but we're not really seeing that many races on it. It's quite short, a little bit difficult just to keep track of how quickly things need to take place along there. All ships are available in this except for those that are welcome in the high-speed class. And our racers, once again, on this open class track will be competing for a $25 gift card. Second place will earn a $20 gift card, and third will earn a $10 gift card. And here we go, we do have Sigelian here in their Reliant, Mako or Mako, depending on what you prefer to pronounce it as. I'm going to be exiting full screen from them and popping on over to the view of Just in Spacetime. Let's see if we have some audio again here. Seems like we still do not. Oops. Let's mute that entirely. And the race is starting in 0 seconds. There we go, taking off. There we go. Now we have a few additional racers on this path. Right now we are looking at Sanatotor, who is taking a quite early lead, but then unfortunately crashes directly into that post up at the top of the map. And very close maneuvers between one another. Solo Freighter has now crashed into something. It looks like Sigelian may have gotten clipped on a building or possibly a ship and turned into a obstacle that we were not intending to be there. But here is X Prime. Looks like they have moved back into the first place position. And let's pop on over to Sigelian's view to see if we can take a look at who is in first place while you are watching down below at Just in Times. We can see Zis on fire right now. Really does seem to be on fire in that they are really pushing forward in that time. They're in the third position, and then moving up here we have X Prime in first. I believe that was M.E.R.C Ivan in second, but we will be seeing those standings from Sigelian here once again in a moment as they take a look at this panning, beautiful angle of that arrow swinging by. Let's head back down to the bottom screen here where we're going to be taking a look at X Prime, who is coming around to the end of their first lap of this track. It looks like they are pulling in and through the starting line. Solo Freighter was running into some more problems there, really just colliding with buildings quite a lot, unfortunately. And here we go, This on Fire is coming on down to that entrance with Sanatotor hot on their heels immediately behind them. Let's take a look over at the standings here. We have X Prime in first with 124, and can we get the standings back from Sigelian here? Nice aerial overhead view, watching those two fighters down there really pushing back and forth against one another, trying to take that third and fourth position, or second and third. M.E.R.C Ivan, one of those two are really fighting back and forth for first and second position. M.E.R.C Ivan followed by Sanatotor in third place. Here we go, This on Fire, who is, I believe, in second right now? Fourth right now, I guess. Probably right in behind Sanatotor, looking like they're overshooting that ring just slightly and drifting down below it. There we go. We have X Prime in first, M.E.R.C Ivan, followed by Sanatotor, This on Fire, and then Solo Freighter. The time split only being about 20 to 30 seconds between the top and bottom racers. So this is a rather close tournament that we have right here. And let's see if we can get a view of Solo Freighter. Looks like they overshot one of these rings just a little bit, trying to rotate and get on through there before we switch over to This on Fire. And then Sanatotor coming in towards the end of, I believe, their second lap, it looks like. Let's bring that scoreboard back up, and M.E.R.C Ivan really pulling forward right on the heels of X Prime there. And then This on Fire and Sanatotor both vying for that third position, because you know what, you want to medal. As long as you medal, you're happy, but it always sucks to be in that fourth position just off. Of course, it's always challenging to be in that second position where you're just out and behind the first place. Second place is always rather tough. But here we have Zis on Fire still pushing against Sanatoder. It looks like they may have fallen slightly behind, but we will find out in a moment. We have M.E.R.C Ivan again right in there behind X Prime, just following them like even maybe half a second behind, 3 or 4 milliseconds worth of time to be made up there, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do it depending on how effectively they fly through towards the end. Here's X Prime, our current leader, with that Challenger hot on their heels coming through the finish line. It looks like that was the end of their race. And I'm looking at Solo Freighter up there at the top, and there we go. We have X Prime with 4 minutes, 7 seconds, and then M.E.R.C Ivan immediately behind them with 4 minutes, 8 seconds, and 26 milliseconds. X Prime managing to take just a little bit of an extra gap there. And Sanatoder coming through at 4 minutes, 29 seconds, 24 milliseconds. Zis on Fire, unfortunately, falling behind a little bit, but there they are, just going into the exit, the finish line, rather. And they're going to end off with 4 minutes, 37 seconds, and 58 milliseconds. And then we do still have Solo Freighter carving a path across the map, and here is Solo Freighter coming up towards the end of this race. Unfortunately, this new flight model is just causing some challenges to most racers. Without a lot of practice, this is a tough one to get used to, and it looks like we are going to have a DNF from our racer Solo Freighter, but congratulations to X Prime, M.E.R.C Ivan, Sanatoder, and Zis on Fire for those finishes, and thank you very much, Solo Freighter, for coming out and participating here with us in this first of the open class tournaments. And I believe we are going to be moving on, and we will shortly be seeing what the standings are going to be looking like. And we have this race coming up in 2 more seconds. This is our second set. This is going to be Solo Freighter again. Who are we facing off against here? Looks like we may have lost some connections there at the beginning of this race. Here is Sigelian. He's going to be in their Reliant Mako and flying up and taking their position. There we go. We do have video back from Just in Spacetime. Sanatoder looking like they are taking the lead on this one, or at least certainly quite out there towards the front. And watching those the trails of these ships flying through the atmosphere is always such an enjoyable thing. And there is M.E.R.C Ivan doing some pretty G-heavy maneuvers, these rolls and twists as they come along the path, attempting to attain victory. And here we go, switching back over to Solo Freighter. It looks like they may have dropped back a little ways again, possibly running into some challenges with those rings. There we go, crashing again one more time. And it looks like Solo Freighter did end up having to explode based on that collision. Not sure whether that was intentional or if that was an attempt just to reset, or if they actually crashed and exploded. Here's Zis on Fire, looking like they might be having a little bit more of a opportunity to fly ahead with the rest of them, but they certainly did have some pretty significant damage to their roof and the top portion of their ship. It looks like they may have gotten into some sort of a impact with somebody else, or possibly an explosion happened nearby them. Here we have the view of Sigelian, and it looks like our first lap is coming to a close. And who is it that is going to be coming through there? It's probably going to be X Prime and possibly, well, there's possibly Zis on Fire in with 3rd position. Let's find out who these racers are going to be. We have Sanatoder coming ahead in 1st place for this one. Congratulations to Sanatoder improving their time. We have M.E.R.C Ivan, X Prime in 3rd, and Zis on Fire coming up in 4th, with Solo Freighter coming into the end of their first lap in 5th position. Zoom back over to here to Zis on Fire, where we're watching them trying to do a little bit of a catch-up game, trying to catch up to that 1st position there and trying to push themselves forward in the rankings. M.E.R.C Ivan still with that damage to their ship, so fortunately they have not had to crash and reset themselves at all. No respawning for this individual, but it looks like they do have somebody hot on their heels. Heading back over to this overhead view, what do we have up here? Looks like there are some people. This is likely Sanatoder still in the lead, heading down into the final stretch of their 2nd lap. Let's see if we can get a glimpse of them passing on through the start line. And look at the speed on these characters. There is Certainly Sanitotor improving their speed. Sanitotor followed by M.E.R.C Ivan, X Prime, and Zis on fire. Solo Freighter still carrying along a little ways back there. Let's take a look down here at X Prime, and what we're going to do is we are going to pop that video quality on Sigelian up a little ways. Don't know why we dropped that, but that is okay. In fact, let's just make this auto quality because it should just automatically go to the highest quality. Now, what do we have up here for our observation person? Looks like Sanitotor and possibly Zis on fire are competing there for that second position. Here is X Prime also coming along pretty effectively, and Solo Freighter bringing up the rear. Starting to drift quite a lot around that first corner. Just as happened in the past. That drift is a real killer in this sort of a competition. In this kind of a race, we are going to be seeing a lot of that drift, and it really can cause some significant problems to our racers. But we do have M.E.R.C Ivan taking up the first place position, and here comes M.E.R.C Ivan down in the middle of your screen, through towards the finish line, and look at that, popping through at 4 minutes, 6 seconds, and 13 milliseconds. Then we have a couple more racers coming through the finish line. We have Sanitotor with 4:08, X Prime with 4 minutes, 11 seconds, and 58 milliseconds. And then we have Zis on fire looking like they've run into some problems out on the field. They're going to be coming through in some time. Let's see where we are here. Zis on fire, coming up towards these last 3 rings. Looks like they are possibly dealing with some engine problems with the amount of drift that they are going through here. And there we go. We have a good demonstration of the rules being followed. It is important that you do travel through all of the rings in the correct direction. We did have Zis on fire pass backwards through one and then have to pass through it again, which unfortunately did cause them to have a collision and accident and explosion situation arise there for them. A couple of seconds here, we will see the final times here. We are going to have M.E.R.C Ivan with 4 minutes 6 seconds, Sanitotor with 4:08, and X Prime with 4:11:58. Unfortunately, Solo Freighter and Zis on fire did not finish this race, but again, we thank them for coming out, and it was a very entertaining race to watch. I hope that you in the audience enjoyed that. We got some hype coming in from Witter, absolutely.
Over 50 years ago, we set out to help Origin Jumpworks go farther. In that time, we learned things. A lot of things. With partners like Origin, we've gone farther than we ever could have imagined. Altama Hydrogen Plus. Where will it take you?
And it looks like all of our racers have readied up, and we are going to be taking this away in 3 seconds. So let's get the show on the road, and we're going to see the final of X Prime versus Sanitotor versus Solo Freighter, M.E.R.C Ivan, and Zis on fire here. And we're going to be seeing these racers taking off, and it looks like Solo Freighter is having a little bit of better luck. Oh, unfortunately, I maybe just jinxed that as they crash into the bottom of a building. Those little, very thin antenna sticking off the bottoms are always causing problems for me as well. But Solo Freighter clearly a much better pilot than me because they managed to finish the races as well. even while crashing. So here we have Sanitotor facing off, very, very close next to possibly X Prime, or is this on fire? We're not exactly sure who that is, but those are some incredible aerial maneuvers that they are doing. And this on fire? It looks like it was them because they just crashed into a billboard or building and exploded devastatingly. And we have some fans in the audience. Oh, and it looks like we have a lot of conflict between these racers here today, as they are just jostling against each other. All three of our leaders are right close to each other. We have Zis Prime, X Prime, sorry, Zis on fire, and possibly Sanitotor up here. It looks like they have taken X Prime's lead from them, and here we have Solo Freighter still pushing and trying to catch up. Really not that far behind them, but there we do have some of our racers coming into the end of that first lap. We have M.E.R.C Ivan, followed by Sanitotor, followed by X Prime, which now is all up in the air because everyone just changed positions. It looks like we have M.E.R.C Ivan here in the lead now. Let's take a look here. Oh, Sanitotor is now taking the lead. M.E.R.C Ivan in second, and then X Prime still just very, very close behind them. All of these racers coming in super close to one another. And here we do have Solo Freighter and Sanitotor coming out, and it looks like they may have taken the lead unless they maybe dropped back a little bit. Oh, and there we go. X Prime and M.E.R.C Ivan both committing suicide, both of them crashing. This is going to give Sanitotor a huge opportunity to pull ahead. M.E.R.C Ivan there waiting till their engines have re-engaged so they can turn back on. X Prime clipping the edge of a building and completely flying out, but Sanitotor as well. There are a lot of crashes from our leaders here. Sanitotor has now, whoops, what's happened here? Oh no, let's go back. Well, okay, we are now watching from just the perspective of just in space-time. We will go back to the correct screen in a moment, but we do have M.E.R.C Ivan here pulling ahead, and Solo Freighter still back there and starting up towards the end of this race. Sanitotor still in first, M.E.R.C Ivan following up, Solo Freighter behind them, and then we do have Sigelian, of course, our observer, up in the sky above everything. And you gotta say it's super fast. Yes, the 350R is perhaps one of those super fast ones that we will be seeing later on, depending on which racers we have in the future flying which ships, obviously. So we do have Sanitotor here coming through their turns here towards the end. Quite an impressive field that we have out here in front of us. M.E.R.C Ivan is starting to come over that middle section of the map. Solo Freighter coming around towards the beginning of their third lap. We may be seeing finish from all of our racers today, depending on how this lap goes for Solo Freighter. Hopefully things continue to go upward for them in the future, and they're able to avoid those collisions that have been causing them problems in the past. I guess let's not go into Sigelian's view because we lost Sigelian's view. And we are looking at M.E.R.C Ivan here, pulling ahead just a little bit. And we're going to be shortly seeing these final times here. We have Sanitotor in first with 4 minutes 13 seconds. M.E.R.C Ivan 4 minutes 17 seconds. And it looks like we do have Solo Freighter coming along as well. Ooh, and it looks like X Prime actually crashed and quit. Crashed and the game quit on them. So I don't know, now that we're in the third lap, what that will mean for their time. But for now, we are going to be seeing Solo Freighter coming around to the end of this race. They have 1 minute from the previous time, from the first finish, to get through all of these rings and over to the end. Will they be able to do it? Looks like they do have 10 seconds still to make it through these, so hopefully we will be seeing a finish here. And there it is. We do indeed have our racers coming through, race ending in 10 seconds. And a beautiful explosion at the end there from Solo Freighter. Thank you for giving us that little show in the end to take us out of it. And did we crash? Or did we not crash? We may have just crashed, so that's okay. We will have some... let's go back to... Yeah, I don't know why we lost out here. There we go. We have Sanitotor And why do we keep popping down to low quality? Yeah, let's just stick with high quality. I apologize for the strange shift in quality that seems to be going on here. Hey there. If you enjoyed that and you feel like you still need some adrenaline in your system, feel free to check us out over there at our Twitch, our Twitter, our YouTube, and on our website. Enjoy the races.